Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? I am Famine. Welcome to Famine Studios. Let's see, we got Bjorn coming in first. We got Mudhorn. One of your customs got accused of being AI. That's weird. Nothing I do is intelligent, let me tell you, let alone artificial. Happy Tuesday. We got, what, one more Tuesday before Christmas after this one? So I hope you guys are, you can hear Quinn. He's very upset that I won't give him wet food right now. He's very upset. Sorry, Quinn. No wet food right now, buddy. Nebula, what's happening? I see you were putting in some work this week at the school shop, getting those buildings done. That's awesome. I figure we'll work on a few things today. A few like random moving pieces that I not actual moving pieces that I have, but like you'll get what I mean. Cat hair all over me. What's up, Red? I'm just gonna bring you guys down. We'll start. Take a look here. So I know I want to get primer and a base coat of black on here and then start with like some type of metallic. What's up, Chan Tony? But I've been like slowly adding stickers and like advertisements and things like that around doors. I'm really inspired. I was really inspired, number one, to do this by New York City doors when they're like closed for shops and stuff. They have the gate that gets pulled across. But then secondly, they're always littered with bills, not like, well, I mean, some of the doors are littered, but like bills for advertising for events, poster stickers, graffiti, slaps. So I've just been adding here and there bits and pieces of that to things as I go along here. Um, so we're gonna just kind of work on this today. I think we can finish this off once we add some wires and a little bit more weathering to it. The anti-drone unit that I'll stick on one of the sides of the buildings, and then I have this vid phone, which is actually going to go on this building here, which is just about done. It's not a strip club. I've said it before, Chan Tony. It's not a strip club, but we did this as well. I just want to give it a pass of a little bit more quick weathering before I call it good enough to go. I think I'll mount it right there. So we got stuff to do today. That said, let's knock out something easy early on. So let's just weather this guy up right here real quick. Um, oh, also for my patrons, it's the rental building underneath the apartments, like an office. Um, for my patrons, I posted a video as Patreon only, basically showing you guys my new organization setup. And as I promised, I would show you guys on the regular feed about what I've got going on here for my setup. Ignoring this because I have to put these in a folder. That's why I set them there and then didn't think of it. I now have a more organized to how famine works set up here. So I've got my brushes, my paint brushes are all organized when I'm not using my paint markers or my clips, and my rulers, they can be up there and out of the way. It opens up the space, but I feel more organized with my brushes and tools that I use right there, my paints next to each other, and yeah. So a little bit of improvement here, a little bit of rearranging, but I like this more. So as I said, let's get to doing some weathering here. And I've got I'm gonna do pastel powders just because chalk pastel powders because I can. Um, I just don't feel like doing washes. I already did a wash on some of the parts on this, if you can't tell. Um, so I think the powders are the next way to go, and then we're gonna call that done. Repaint one of the Luke figures that comes with the World of Action X-Wing. Nice. But I figure as we add more things and more like random add-ons to the buildings and add more stacks to the shipping container buildings that I have, you know, it's more lore, it's more world building, it's more visual interest, and just like spending time and looking at things, looking through books. Like last week, I showed you guys that new book that I got on Kowloon, the walled city Kowloon. Um, Looking at that recent trip to New York, it's just like I enjoy my buildings, but buildings, especially in lower income neighborhoods, even just like regular suburban buildings, if we're being honest, if you look on the outside, there's all kinds of stuff on the exterior of homes and things like that. So I wanted to kind of convey that with things like you'll see on apartment buildings sometimes outside you'll see like a pay used to see a payphone attached to the building or right in front of the building. So we'll do that. We'll put the vid phone here. You see like instant turn on generators on the sides of buildings or air conditioner units sticking out of houses, outlet boxes that have been installed with like the wires covered in PEX pipe instead of buried or run through the wall. So you've got like this pipe coming down. Like we want to add visual things that aren't just there for bull crap. Like, oh, I just slapped a bunch of stuff on the side, which you can do, which works. But you guys know me. It's kind of like my hyper focus of the detailing is like I want to make sure that the things that I do tend to exist for a reason, whatever that reason may be. So yeah, and this is just chalk pigment, chalk pigment. My goodness, chalk pastels, and I just take a X-Acto blade, scrape it. Some people do it on a sanding stick or on a sandpaper and put it in a separate container. I just like to keep it all together because it's weathering pigment, right? So I just take my makeup brush, put a little bit on there, and I want to just get a little bit towards the bottom here because I like to think is back at the heyday of payphones. Like I remember, I'm old enough to remember. Oh, back in my day, I am old enough to remember using payphones, and nowadays people like see payphones. They're like, oh, that's where a homeless guy sleeps, or somebody shit in there, or Superman changed there once. Like people, they did used to kind of keep payphones neat. Like you'd see phone numbers scribbled in or graffiti and things like that. But as far as like what they weren't usually trashed all the way through because that was like a lifeline in the community, especially on a building where maybe not everybody had a phone. They did have a payphone outside with a number to it, and you could call it and get somebody. So I figured this would be just like a useful utility for people that maybe didn't have a hologram communication or didn't have a personal comms device or whatever. The first X-Wing sounds like a movie. As you can see here, I'm just kind of like picking out and dabbing a little bit of this pastel on there, and it just gives it a little bit more. I know we're not on planet Earth in Gimmick, but like an earthiness to it, like a world worn connection. And I think that's it. I think that's all I'm gonna do on this. And again, it says vid phone, similar to the one in Blade Runner, but that one's like straight up video phone. And it's got a camera here that looks like it's kind of been tilted. Maybe somebody reached up and they wanted to adjust it for a call. It's got a data readout screen here that I made. It's got some various buttons. It's got a number pad, scanners. Somebody put stickers in there. There's stickers up inside of the ledge here. So let's see if I can show that on camera. Yeah, there it is. It's like there's stickers put up in there that people might do, some scribbled out numbers and things, a sticker on the edge. Maybe it's graffiti, maybe it's like some type of like, oh, it's been inspected code. We don't know. And then just, scratches and dents on the top, people dropping things, maybe birds pecking around at it. So let's get that on there. I'm going to use hot glue. Um, this part isn't too precious. It's not anything that's going to get knocked around or whatever. I could use super glue, but Honestly, hot glue is going to be just fine for what we need right now. What's up, Howdy? How you living? Right. What I am going to do is I'm going to take this piece of tape off of here. That's a holdover. This is not, I'm not treading any new territory here when I teach you guys this unless you haven't seen it before. But if you have like a finicky piece like this and you're painting it and you don't want to hold it by hand, you put your tape on backwards and just tape it with a piece onto a surface, and then you can stick things to it while you paint them. That's all I did there. So like I said, I'm going to take one of these, and we'll do both, just so I can see what I'm doing here. You guys a little better view. And I'm thinking like, maybe over here. Like initially, I wanted to go over here, but it almost feels too busy with like that weird pseudo billboard thing there. But over here, it's like it's out of the way. You could be somebody walking down the street and use the vid phone. Maybe you're not a resident. Um, yeah, I'm thinking like that. So let's get a let's get this hot glue gun. Doing it. See, I turned it off. I was safe. I was Mr. Safety. Hey, it's my sister. Everybody, be nice to my sister. Or I'll kill you. Hi, Amber. Well, it looks good on my left, but I don't know which way you guys see it. But I'm going over here. I think this is the best bet. And it also gives an excuse for that camera to be kicked off to the side a little bit, you know. And today's show is brought to you by, not sponsored, but we're drinking grapefruit seltzer water. Famine, you're not supposed to drink grapefruit with the medicine that you're on. It's not legally grapefruit. Like it's like it looked like it glanced at grapefruit once and then kept going. So I think I'm good. All right. Hot glue is hotting. So next, I think what we're going to do is we're going to put a couple of wires and then really weather this thing with some washes. I don't really have any excuse me, I don't really have any decals or anything that I want to put on here. I had a couple of ideas, but I don't think I don't think this being plain is the enemy. You know what I mean? Like this can just look like a utility piece. I don't think it needs labels or whatever. Um, I mean, I can. I'll fuss with the label thing later. Let's see here. Come on, hot glue, do your job. It's great because I was running this early because I've been working on. Hey, thanks, Tone. And Tone, thanks to your super chats, YouTube here told me that you're one of my biggest fans, an all-time subscriber. Guys, go ahead and hit the like button. By the way, if you're here, that helps the channel. Hit the share button. You don't have to share it, but if you hit the share button, it tells YouTube they're like, wow, people want to share this guy's stuff. You could share it with an enemy. I don't care. Share it with a friend. Share it with a neighbor. Share it. Text somebody right in the room with you. Be like, hey, I'm watching this. And they're gonna be like, won't that be weird? We're both hearing the same thing on the phone, and you're just like, well, yeah, click on it though. And then you tell them to subscribe. or you could go into the description and you could grab the link to my Patreon or my Ko-Fi, and you could, how's it going, Jess? And you could send it to somebody saying, support your local artists. I am your local artist. All right, what? That hot glue gun's going to be taking sweet time today. We're going to be needing that. And as far as a label goes on that, maybe we could put, I don't want to put English on it. Like, I know what I'll do. So the first thing I'm going to do, cut me a little piece of this. Cut me a piece of this here, this washi type here, right there. Set that right there. Just do that job, washi tape that away. And then Prime Video isn't loading. Fallout tomorrow. Fallout actually premiered today, my friend. It dropped a day early at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But I haven't watched it yet, so no spoilers. And technically, I mean, I doubt you guys are watching it too while you're here with me. But yeah, don't be a dick. Give it a day. Give it an additional day. Not everybody can watch it immediately. I used to be the guy that had to like see it the day it came out. Um, and the internet's kind of like ruined that for me, like that whole experience. But then number two, it's like people just love to share the first spoiler and make the first meme, and so it's like it's rough being on the internet. It's rough being perpetually online, kids. Not gonna lie to you. All right, let me just got that. We got that there. I think that's good enough. I don't think that needs to be any more complicated than just a caution strip of caution tape on that tank. We don't know what that tank's for. We don't need to know. Maybe it contains a like a fire extinguisher type thing. So if a drone, you know, decides to kamikaze it through inertia, it just lets out a cloud of sticky or powdery substance or whatever and immediately stops the thing. That's what keeps our drones away. So this should be hot enough to go. All right, whoops. Get out of there. There we are. And since we're saying fallout and famine, show you guys my Sunset Sarsaparilla Deputy commemorative collector badge. That's right. I'm that cool. Not been watching much recently. Back to the books for a bit. I've been spending a lot of time looking at picture books because I don't know how to read. At least that's what I tell my coworkers. Um, but that's been a nice change of pace, just like sitting and looking through a book. And I do, but I mean a lot of the stuff I look at online is like artists. That's why I love Instagram. I wish that Meta didn't have its hooks in Instagram because god damn it do I love that platform for you know, artwork, seeing other people's artwork processes. Yes, stick that in with the Starfighter. Just like crumple them up and put them in the don't do that. I mean you could. Uh but you know, I like seeing artists, I like seeing other artists work, I like seeing the process. I get to talk to my homies there. Um I just wish that Meta didn't have their fucking meat hooks in it. But I like that people are still, despite that big push for reels and despite that big push of like, oh, post your videos, people are still posting pictures and photography. They are still fighting and, excuse me, using Instagram as a photography app app. So there is that cool pushback that's kind of happened naturally by artists, which I do appreciate. And fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, I mean, I'm lucky to have it as a platform to help make a little bit of an earning, to help fund my artwork, to also connect with people. Like I said, that's the primary thing for me. And then it's just like with Amazon. Like, hey, listen, I bitch, moan, and complain. I still order from Amazon. I do. I do make money off of Amazon because their publishing service is still the best self-publishing service that's available to small-time creators and writers like me. Them's the ropes, right? I understand the hypocrisy, but I also understand by doing so I'm taking money out of their pockets. So buy my book, Tales of the Undead. It's on Amazon. Hurry up before Amazon pays me this month. All right, so now we've got building. Let's get you down here at almost eye level. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot right there. Cool, 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 cool. I dig on that. So let's go ahead and I'll get some black primer down here on this cardstock. I think I already did. I think I already did a coating of Mod. Did I do a coating of Mod Podge on here? I did not. That's okay. That's gonna be fine. Because this is gonna get. It's probably gonna go through. Probably gonna go through multiple colors. The different layers on there. This I will Mod Podge though. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Mod Podge. That is a pet peeve of mine, and I know. Oh, I know I shouldn't have. You guys saw that, right? Because I won't do that again. That was one time. Uh, I know not everybody's brought up with the same learning and reading abilities and things like that. So I try not to be a bitch about it, but I'm going to bitch about it. Uh, it's Mod Podge, not Mod Podge. Sons of bitches. It's Mod Podge. Mod Podge. It's right there on the package. Hey, Leah. How are you? Thank you for joining. Leia is one of my oldest friends from the internet days, back when I was cool and did a lot more volunteer work than I do now. And we have stayed in contact and stayed friends since. I appreciate seeing you here. And so we've got the black paint here. And like I said, I'm just going to use this as a primer, just a base primer on this cardboard. I will come back as the cardboard's drying and do a quick Mod Podge coat on there. And yeah, the canopy, I don't want to take full credit for like, oh, I made that cool ass canopy. That was a I want to say like an American doll sized umbrella, like a beach umbrella. I cut it in half and then I sanded it until it was like really rough and gritty, and I coated it in um, baking soda and glue, and then I just put different pieces of fabric, different pieces of paper towel until it was coated. Then I mixed uh, Mod Podge and water while it was still wet and just went over it and kept coating and coating and coating until everything was down and flat. I let it dry and then I went in and just painted each of those things differently. And then this is a shoelace that I painted gold that I just followed the ringlets on there and then I attached it to the building. Um, now that I saw like how it worked and everything, I could probably duplicate it again. I do have another half of this like setup, so I could absolutely mimic that or make a mold by putting plastic wrap over it or something like that, like a mold release, and then just popping that half off of there. So it's something that I've held on to in order to go after that again. But yeah, it was like a American doll size. So they're what 12 inches, I think, right around 12 inches. Those American dolls are, and that was a beach umbrella. I think I got it at the dollar store, but that's what it was meant to be. So Miss Daisy, my beautiful, fluffy, gorgeous girl, she's allowed in here, as you guys have seen. Um, she she comes in here. She's allowed to be in here because she doesn't get into the shelves. If she starts to get finicky about it, like looking at the shelves and wanting to jump up there, I just go scoop her up and I relocate her and she gets it. Um, one of the downsides of having such a cute and fluffy helper is she likes to be like directly next to me. So sometimes I get fur on things that shouldn't have fur on them. But it is nice to have a little furry companionship from time to time, especially during the workday when it's stressful and like it's right around the holidays, right? Like, come on, guys. Like we don't have to be awful right around the holidays. Like I don't care if you don't celebrate the holiday or if you do celebrate the holiday. And I know it's like, okay, so this is the only time of year we're supposed to be nice, but like everybody's in a rush. Everybody wants that thing done before whatever. Like, be nice to your customer service people. Be nice to people in retail. There's no reason to be awful. There's none. None of it matters. Nothing is that critical. Like 99% of what we all do, we're not delivering. We're what paperwork. You got to return something. The TV you bought, the remote control doesn't work. Like it's nothing. World's not going to stop turning. Yeah, be excellent to each other. Bill and Ted, do it year round, but especially not right now when it's like high volume, so nobody gets a break. It's just nonstop barrage. So it's nice to have that furry little partner there. But then again, she gets fur on like my shirt that I keep, I had it hanging up and she knocked it down. I keep hanging up to paint in when I'm not wearing my coveralls. So if you see me stop and fish hair, pretty little cat hairs out of the paint as I go, that's Daisy hair for you. Storm tried to be in here this morning. He was being a good boy, but then he got naughty and jumped up inside a gimmick. So nothing to gain by being a jerk. That's also true. I wish some days I wish I could say that to customers if I given the opportunity, because there are plenty where it's like the only thing stopping them from getting the help that they want is a bad attitude. And I'd love to be able to say that, like, if you go about this a little more kindly, we get somewhere on this. But you know how it goes. So it's pretty cool when Daisy's in here chilling and people get heated or whatever, or come off as heated, and I have to maintain it. I'm not. That's one thing. Anybody who knows me, I'm very much the same person online as I am in person. Um, if I see an injustice or somebody being mean to somebody, like it's very difficult for me to not be like, maybe don't be a fucking dick. And so in my personal in my job, I can't do that, and it's real tough. I've gotten better at it over the years. I'll tell you that. But when somebody's being rude, or I hear that somebody's being even my coworker, like I get along with everybody I work with. I may not necessarily want to hang out with them outside of work or go get coffee and go catch a movie or anything like that, but they're also my coworker. They're under the same stress I am, and when I see somebody who's a customer that's being rude to them, I want to be like, guess what? I've got some words for you, friend. is what it is. So me and Daisy, we get along. I can talk to her sometimes. Be like, Daisy, what you doing? And she'll meow at me. Yesterday, she comes up to me. I have no idea what the hell she was talking about, but I was sitting on the bed with Storm. He will let me brush him everywhere but his armpits. He doesn't like his armpits touched, which I get. Like some people don't like that. He's a cat. Cats are consent animals. One of the reasons I love them. They'll let you know if they don't like something. This is from playing. That's from playing. That's not from him biting me or anything. But Storm's got some strength behind him. He's 13 pounds. He's a thick boy. And I was brushing his armpits and he was kind of letting it happen. And I got down on his armpits and I was rubbing his belly and he was a happy boy and we were playing. And they were just kind of sitting there. Daisy walks in the room, looks around, and she started talking, just meow, 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 Daisy in Daisy language, little Daisy mouse. But she had something to say, and I'm like, okay, all right, what's going on, Daisy? And she just finally wrapped it up, turned around, climbed up on a chair, and lay down and went to sleep. So she gave me something. She yelled. She told me something. She gave me some sort of business. I just don't know what the business was that she gave me. I don't know if she was like, "Hey, he really doesn't like having his armpits touched. That's my brother." Because I don't know. But yeah, she had opinions, and it was very funny that she just wandered in, took one look around, and was like, "Oh, I got some things to say." But during the workday, she'll sit with me, and sometimes I'll just be like, "Can you believe this, Daisy? Can you believe how these people are?" And she'll just, she's a cool lady. I like that she's really come out of her shell since moving in here, and so has her brother, so has Storm, which I love, and him and Quinn. Tone's got that cat hair chic going on too. Um, Storm and Quinn have really become like best buddies, and they'll chase each other around the house, and then Daisy will chase them after she watches them. She'll watch them like the Indy 500, just run in circles. Because my house, it's not a ranch. You saw that piece of cat hair fall. Um, but anyway, the layout is like a circle. There's a circle track in my house, oval, and the cats take full advantage of that and just run around at full speed. And Daisy will sit there in her perch, or she'll sit on the back of my chair and she'll just watch them go, watch them, watch them, watch them, and then all of a sudden she just decides she's in it, and with as much grace as like a turtle trying to get off its back. Daisy will just dive off of the surface of something, and every leg goes in a different direction as she tries to like steer herself on the way down, hits the floor, and just chases after the boys. And so it becomes all of a sudden they were chasing each other. Now they're running from her. It cracks me up every time. And it's so cool to see them like come out of their shell, play with each other, play with their friend, their brother Quinn, and just really get to uh, get to be cats and get to have fun. And I take Daisy outside probably once a day. On the colder days, she doesn't go with me, but we walk to the mailbox that's on the side of my house to go check for packages and check for mail. And she sees the neighbor's dogs and looks for other cats and looks for birdies and gets her sniffs in. And the boys sit there and watch, and they're like, "Where the fuck are you guys going? Like, what are you doing out there? Don't you know that's outside?" Okay, get some of this black pigment off this brush. And also, other artists and painters, especially, um, and people who watch the replay, can you just sound off in the comments? Excuse me. Do you have a specific mug or cup or container that you use for paint, strictly for your paint water? I've had this one for a while now. Um, I wash it as often as I can, but it's like my designated paint cup. Just curious if anybody else has a designated one, or if you just use whatever, wash it out when you're done. Because that idea, like, it fascinates me. Wife's allergic. I'm sorry to hear that. Has she tried not being allergic? Just like just toughen up. Mrs. Audi can just get a little tough. You could tell her. You could tell her I said it. What? Like Honey Famine says that you just got to be a little tougher about this cat thing. Designated cup. That's good. I don't. If I'm being honest, I do not have one. Probably should, but I don't. I just heat up water in a cup, drop my figure in, fish it out. Now I saw some people. Oh, well, learn whatever we're drinking needs to be covered. Yes, I've done that almost a couple of times where I've sipped the paint water, or I put my paintbrush right in my coffee. Dedicated mug. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. I thought about doing like a cheeky Famine Studios mug that says, like this is probably paint water or something like that. But um, looking at the price that all these places now are charging for the print on demand mugs, I'm not even like, even if I took no profit from it, I'm sorry, I would not be making people pay the amount of money that these places are asking for mugs. And it's like one of those. I say this as a toy collector, look around, right? Look around. All right. You guys see, I buy things that I don't necessarily need. Overconsumption's a real thing though. I've got mugs, right? Everybody's got coffee mugs in their house. Probably too many coffee mugs, seasonal mugs. I actually just put a bunch of mugs away because I'm like, I don't need this many coffee mugs. Like I have so many because they're great gifts. Like people give them as gifts and all that, but it's like I've got enough receptacles for hot beverage. So I'm like, don't really need them. But that said, I did make myself a little Rusty Jackalope Provisions Company 5 gallon pail because it's a little Rusty Jackalope pail. Like why wouldn't I do that? Again, you're looking at a stormtrooper. I got a stormtrooper in my art studio. Okay, I get it. I'm aware I'm not the person who should be saying don't overbuy things, but also I'm not gonna make that because that's like. But thank you, Leia. I did see that you said you make those, and I appreciate that. I was thinking more of like just an item in my shop, as like a thing. But yes, so it's like the t-shirts. Okay, I get they used to be $15, now they're $16 on the shop. The cost of everything's going up, whether or not tariffs affect it. A lot of things that tariffs are not affecting, the cost is still going up because companies can get away with it, and it's just one of those things where it's like it's not a necessary need. So I'm not gonna throw coins at it and have people purchase it. Like even if I sold it at just the cost of manufacture, ain't no reason. All right, I'm gonna get a blast coat of black on this here. I don't have to paint all the way because this is always gonna have something on top of it. Um, yeah, yeah. It's and I'm not saying that that you guys would criticize, but anybody who's watching this or comes along later in my career and you know they watch it and they're like, oh, this guy used to tell people not to buy things, but he was buying toys and making art out of garbage and things like that. And it's like, yeah, I'm over here making like this is recycled polystyrene foam that would have wound up in a dumpster. Same as the bottom. The cardboard box was the box off of food that I bought from the grocery store. That's ripped up paper towels and old shirts on there too. Um, like the flip side is like I hope that I keep out and prevent more trash going into the dump than I generate. And it pisses me off to know that I really have to work hard at that. Meanwhile, corporations get to like dump raw sewage into our water and just be like, nah, we'll pay the $20,000 fine as we make billions of dollars, but you make sure you recycle your trash. So I like to preface it and understand, yes, there is a strange point of view coming from the toy collector or the, you know, the artist that has the giant stormtrooper in his house that, isn't necessarily a need. I'm over here saying like don't buy an extra coffee mug. But the point stands is that it's like you don't need to, that's not something that I need to contribute to you getting. Yeah, yeah, that's a I don't need to contribute that. But I mean, if you want to make a special coffee mug and do that, by all means. I'm not the coffee mug police. I'm not. You won't catch me stopping you. Yeah, he's over there. He's doing a good job. I have very large plans for him. Um, as soon as this basement issue is resolved and the rest of the drywall comes out, as well as the wooden paneling, I'll probably be getting a dumpster for that and the carpet in here and the carpet in the old room and the remaining carpet in the living room probably in March. Fingers crossed. Um, because dumpsters are expensive. Yeah, you like, yeah, I get it, but also like dumpsters are expensive. And if you really got to plan out like what you're going to put in there, how you're going to put it in to make the most of it. I found because I've spent some time traipsing around a dumpster trying to fix things because I was like, oh, we'll just throw things in here willy nilly. So the last dumpster we got was when we truly emptied the basement and emptied the garage of like just old stuff from the 50s and 60s. I think it worked out to be like 420 man, $420 for a 15-yard dumpster. I want to say it was 15-yard dumpster for 14 days. So I had it for 2 weeks. And I mean, we filled the damn thing. We absolutely did fill the thing. Kenny and Jason came over. Um, my neighbor had swung over with some heavy stuff to like help us press some of the things down. Like we filled that dumpster and everything, but it's 410 is not a small, or $420 is not a small amount of dollars for trash. But it's like I could I could chop up the old carpet into small sections and put it in contractor bags and throw it in the garbage, but then that runs the risk of breaking the contract that I have with the garbage company. And there's no like community. If there was a community day where I could like throw old chairs out and things like that, that'd be awesome. But our local trash company doesn't do that. They do that in the city of Albany, and other surrounding cities, but just here for whatever reason they don't do that. Um, Probably because there's not a lot of money in it. Now, one of the local like more hazardous waste companies just recently did one where they took like old paints and things like that. And I brought um, an old piece of furniture that was probably like lead paint and some old, excuse me, cans of varnish and aerospace paint that was expired. It was expired, but you could still use it. You have to mix the primer and the catalyst together for waste removal for free, but you had to like bring it to them. And man, I've got like some old furniture and stuff that's got to go, and I just can't be hoisting. It was my dishwasher. It wasn't furniture. It was my dishwasher because it had all that stuff in it, so they were accepting that. Um, but it's like I can't be lifting couches and shit, loading it up on my car, hoping for that one day because while the event was a great success, the community seemed to like it. We don't know if they're going to be doing it again, right? So I can't really count on that. So I have to do it myself and get a dumpster. Um, it's just, I don't know, probably the fucking responsible thing to do, right? And that's home ownership. I'm very fortunate, especially in this economy, to be able to even be like, oh, I gotta fix this basement because of water and then get a dumpster. What was me? Like, I'm fortunate for that. So don't think I didn't know, guys. All right. See, that's starting to look. It's on Amazon, small vac form machine. Yes. Let's see. Replenishment team at Old Navy. Yeah. Yep. And I've seen that vac form machine. You can look up a video by Punish Props. They got one to try it, and Adam Savage also has one of them little tabletop dental vac form machines. Night Trooper 4 pack. Use the undead guards for Night Sisters. Oh yeah, dude, for 30 euros, absolutely, absolutely, pick that up. That's the thing is, I wish that they had. I haven't picked up that set yet either. I just wanted the Enoch Trooper myself. Like, put him on. I'm sure he'll hit single card when the next season comes out. He's too cool of a character. It's kind of like a. I'm not comparing him to Boba Fett, but he's kind of like the Boba Fett of like, oh, he's mysterious, and this is like a very unique trooper. We've never seen somebody with like the face on the helmet before, so they'll produce figures or release that on a single card. But it would have been nice at the time of the show, like when it was peak popularity, that if I could go online and purchase one of those Enoch figures on its own and get the 4 pack of the troopers separate, instead of, if you buy multiple packs of those troopers, you can part swap, pop and swap and things like that. But, you still wind up with, if you buy 3 of those packs, you've got 3 Enochs instead of 3 troopers that you could have used. So, all right, let's get this brush cleaned up one more time. Well, actually, there we go. Let's get this brush cleaned up, and I'll get a layer of Mod Podge on this just so that that's taken care of. The little walking pad there. Um, and as far as waste, yeah, I follow a lot of dumpster diving groups on like Facebook and Reddit community groups, and it is amazing, just absolutely stunning. Like, really, will stop you in your tracks when you see what gets thrown away at a lot of these places, a lot of stores, department stores, grocery stores, pharmacies. Like, we throw out a lot of stuff, and that's one of the reasons that I use recycled materials here. Like, I'm very much like, oh, I don't want that to go in the dumps. I can use that. Oh, that looks like this thing. This is something that I'm going to be able to go ahead and use. Doesn't need to go in the garbage, and it's free. Pretty sure about 2 packs of Night Troopers. Oh, that would be tremendous. Yeah, let me know what you want for that. I'll absolutely reimburse you for sending me that Night Trooper. That'd be great if you do have an extra one. I don't want to take your. You could be doing an Enoch army. Some people do. I don't know. Some people also juggle geese. But it's like, and as an artist, you're always, at least I, as somebody who does a lot of like things that have found stuff, I'm always looking for materials, and I try not to buy when I can. Like, sure, I do have my consumables, my paintbrushes, and look at me, I use the shit out of my paintbrushes. So when somebody gives me paintbrushes, I'm like, oh my god, thank you, can't wait to break into them, and then I will continue to beat these to death until I move on to the new ones. I'm very much guilty of that, but also like, I'm an artist, so I need those. But like, materials, juice lids, caps, like things like that, I save because it's free art materials. It's free. Like, it doesn't cost me anything to get those things to use them, and that is helpful to me as an artist. If I had to pay for, if I had to like out of styrene and all that stuff, and it wasn't found, oh my god, that'd be expensive. Like, just the cost of just getting the raw materials. You know. Let's see here. There's a little piece of foam that's just like dangling. There we go. You get right out of there, buddy. Your Enoch is in pieces. Excuse me. And anybody who's a huge, huge nerd like I am, theology, history, mythology, things of that nature, whatever you consider it, Filoni doesn't really do anything for no purpose. He never does anything just cause. So the fact that, like, look at Balin's Skull. Why is Balin's Skull named that? All those things. if you look into where the namesake of Enoch comes from, it's one of the apocryphal books of what would have been the Bible that's not included. And Enoch is a very fascinating figure in the book of Enoch. Enoch was Moses' great grandfather, according to it, and it's fascinating about that. So if it's, you know, if there's anything lore related from that, it'll be cool to see. And I'm just curious as to why he chose that name, because again, like, he doesn't seem to do anything for no good reason. He doesn't half-ass things, is what I'm trying to say. So if there's a particular reason why this character is named Enoch, to make comparisons to the mythological version of it, Snow Crash. I recently saw somebody's personal library they posted pictures of. It was like their little cozy library book reading room, and that was one of the books that everybody like focused in on their shelves. Like, oh, look at that edition of Snow Crash you've got. Da 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 da. I remember the first time I read that, and it was cool to see people still talking about how impactful that book is to them and how impactful it was when they first read it. All right. I'm not going to go ham on texturing this foam because it's already got a pretty decent texture on it. It's going to look like stone when I'm done with it. Anyway, just by the way that I'm going to paint it. So let's get a quick, let's do a quick and dirty wash on this. I want to, actually, first I want to put a wire on here. I have this piece of elastic off of it was a cookie tin, Christmas cookie tin. So I saved the name tag and I was like, oh, that looks like the black elastic that I use for hoses and cords and wires. And it is, and it's got that kind of cool corrugation. So a little bit of dry brushing on that will look neat. But let's cut it. Cut the knot off of it first. And I have a lighter for my candles somewhere here. Yeah, I'm a candle guy. Like to have the house smelling nice. It smells like currently I've got pine. I had pine going out there this week, and so my house kind of smells like pine. All right, so I'm thinking. That's right, we drilled a hole. We did drill a hole in there, so let's push that hole out. Or push it in. Either way. Yep. Get out of here. All right, so we already drilled a hole to receive that wire. Thinking I can do a tiny little bit of hot glue to put that in. Here we go. Doesn't need to be super glue. Not everything has to be. All right. And then just have this cord go, I don't know, to right there. Whatever this box is. Yeah, sharpen those scissors. Bjorn, you were supposed to remind me to sharpen those scissors. All right. And then we'll do it again. We'll do a little drop of hot glue. Not enough hot glue. Took too long. There's not, when I do a little teeny tiny bit of hot glue, there's not enough residual heat from the remaining gob of hot glue. So I have to work quicker. Sisters, what did I miss? Yep. Interesting that Enoch's on Thrawn side. Enoch, Zombie Trooper. Scissors. Oh, you were supposed to remind me to sharpen my scissors. I don't know why that became your responsibility, but I just decided that that was supposed to be something you were gonna do. Was remind me. So let's see here. Here we go. Come on. Damn. Cool. Let that actually cool down. Failed to do to your minor sharpness. Please forgive me. All right, you get everybody gets one, Bjorn. You get one. It's close to the holidays. I'm feeling forgiving. Like Ebenezer Scrooge after he saw three ghosts. You get a pass. Just like Spider-Man and Family Guy says, everybody gets one. All right, for the next color along the bottom. I'm thinking maybe I don't want to do gray. I don't want anything too colorful, like primary color wise. I'm debating on if I want to do a paint color first and then metallic, or if I just want to go straight into the metallics. I think we could just do some cool layering with metallics. So we're gonna go with well, could go with, let's do bronze green first, and then we'll hit it with some like wrought iron and some copper, maybe a little verdigris. Let's see what we can come up with here. Let's see. Right? That's the great thing about paint. That's what I tell my nieces and nephews. Anybody that'll listen, is that the very cool thing about paint is that if you don't like it, you can just paint over it. What's up, Starboy? Yeah, I think we'll get Ezra explaining to Hera, probably, like what happened in that time period. And I think that's gonna be an enjoyable tale, because it's like we remember from Rebels like how Ezra was, and now we've met him to see how he is now. It's wild to think the amount of people that really wanted him to be bad. Like they wanted him to, be surprised that he had fallen to the dark side while he was there. And I'm like, that's not our boy. Yes, he's tempted, but not my baby. Not my son. Not my son Ezra. Famine, why don't you get your lazy Susan out and put this on the lazy Susan? That way you can just, why don't you mind your business? How about that? Self. And for those who are new to the channel that are watching for the first time, maybe catching the replay, yes, I often do refer to myself in the third person, and I do talk to myself. So hoping we get Ezra. Oh yeah, absolutely. I want Space Moses. I want the full, like him as Moses, Space Moses, with the chainmail and maybe one of those little turtle hermit crab guys. Those guys were pretty goddamn neat. And I think they would be a cool figure. I'm actually surprised that they didn't do that at the same time when they released the Wolfhound with Sabine. I thought for sure that that would be like the next logical set. But sometimes with these toy companies, as we've seen more and more lately, um, logic doesn't necessarily come into play. I'm sure somewhere some bean counter says that, you know, hey, this would be worth less if we did this, or we should do this a different way, or whatever. So we figure it out, we make it work. Yeah, we don't have season one Ezra. That's what I mean. Like the him stuck on. It's not Exegol, and I know it's not Exegol, and I don't know what Peridia, right? But him stuck on Peridia with the little critters. I think that'd be a cool set, and it's pretty representative of him in his clothes that he had. Or you could have put him with Hun Yang, the robot. Making building his lightsaber. But I'm glad that we're finally getting. I will say I'm glad that we're finally receiving figures from the acolyte. Finally getting the stranger. That's one that I'm very super excited about. I really enjoyed that character, and I wish that we were getting more of that world. Would have been phenomenal. And I know not everybody liked the series, but I think given the opportunity to continue, they may have impressed us. But is what it is, man. Cool. All right, so we got that green bronze on there. I like that a lot. It's different. It's kind of like an ugly color, like an old, like it was just like surplus paint, and they were just like, just paint it. I dig on that. Clean the brush. It's drying out. Put that paint back. Let that dry a little bit. Building is fantastic. Thank you. It is a yeah. Him being the original Ren would be great. Oh, Rebel season one. I'm sorry, Bjorn. You're right. You're right. Thank you. This is a flower pot, flower container. Um, I think I picked it up on clearance at Target for like, I don't know, a few bucks, and it was one of those like $20 ones, which is like atrocious for a plastic fucking flower pot. Um, but I was gonna use it for some plants, some fake plants, and then I was like, I set it upside down on a table, and I was like, that's a space building. That's a building right there. So I set it aside, and then I had used this, and you've seen it in some of my other pictures, and it was like the base level, like I said, the reception desk, the rental office or whatever, like the management office for my what'll be my tower of those shipping containers. Um, and I was like, okay, cool. And then I've been looking at it and looking at it and looking at it, and something wasn't sitting right with me. I was like, it feels like it's just like a smidge too low, but I'm putting figures next to it and it looks the right height. And I'm like, no, it's just there's got to be something else. I have to do something else to it. And I was like, what if I raised it? Okay, that's cool. And what if I like put some type of almost like I said, how I'm going to be doing stone for the path? Okay, that's great. But like maybe we make this layer like poured concrete, so it's going to look like poured concrete as a almost an organic barrier between the then just stacks of buildings that are going to be on top of it, stacks of shacks and things like that that people are living in. And I was like, yeah, there it is, that's what I've landed on, is that. So I had some scraps of foam insulation like hardboard that were actually in my waste bin downstairs in my old studio, but it's up on casters, so it never got moisture in it. And I was looking at them and I was like, huh, I bet that I could probably still get some use out of those, whether it's just like spacing or like backer board. Happened to work out that I had just enough in the one sheet to cut the bottom piece, leave the footpath that I wanted to make the step down from the door, and then enough to do the top one too. So worked out. So we're gonna do some country gray to make this kind of start to look like concrete, like poured concrete. Yeah, there. Don't need that much. And let's see, do a little bit of good old fashioned. I guess we do need a little bit more paint on there than that. That was a little too dry brush, as the kids say. I don't think the kids actually say that, but yep, see, that's too wet. Words you'll never hear me say outside of this. There we go. I cannot wait. I have a pretty sizable chunk of time off coming up for the holiday. The company I work for, they have their flaws, but one of the things that their CEO is notorious for is he very much wants people to have time around the holidays to spend with their family. Um, so much so that he makes the day after Thanksgiving a paid day off for everyone, so they can, they don't have to come back to work and then have the weekend following up. And then also he likes everybody to get as many days in a block as they can off around the holidays. So he schedules two different blocks available. One is the week of Christmas, and the other is the New Year's Eve, the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve. And I volunteered for the week between Christmas and New Year's Eve off because we also do get Christmas Day and Christmas the day after Christmas. I think I work, but then I have the following day off. Either way, I don't have to work on Christmas. It's probably going to be dead on Christmas Eve. Quiet tonight because you're tinkering with this on in the background. Work the day after Christmas. Yeah. Um, well, you got your fancy new rolly chair, right? So you're just like zipping around like fucking Stephen Hawking. Um, what a terrible comparison, fan. That's mean. That's mean. The man's gone and he was on the Epstein flight logs. I don't know what to tell you. Um, but yeah, the owner of the company, he gives vacation around them, paid vacation off. So I have some paid days off coming up, and I'm very excited about those. I'll be doing hopefully some more live streaming, and yeah, I know for a fact that I'll be doing some more streaming during the week. It'll be during days, um, getting a lot done. Might even do a couple of prop builds. Do prop works. I've got this case that I want to do a tutorial video of sci-fi, like a sci-fi case to go on my display for that stormtrooper down around his feet. So, hey man, I'm not joking. He was on the flight. I don't know what to tell you. But also the notion of you with the little joystick zipping about while working on figures, kind of funny. Just Midnight Tinker Station. That's what you call the dungeon, eh? Yeah, why don't you come over and check out my Midnight Tinker Station? That's like as scary as Uncle Touchy's Tickle Basement. Like it does sound dirty. That's the joke. You can't post gifs in YouTube chat comments, can you? Because you need the Simpsons stand-up comedian gif going. That's the joke. And the best part is, if I get any like, which I'm getting a little bit of, I'm just kissing the top edges of this with the gray. If you look on the stone buildings, you do get when rain happens, acid rain happens everywhere. It actually does leave a chalky finish of debris and detritus upon the top edges of things. So there you go. I don't feel so bad about my sloppy work. And by sloppy work, I mean masterful artwork that you guys are tuning in to watch me make live, and I appreciate it. Thank you for joining me. If you're not already, you should definitely check out my Patreon. You can go. There's patron exclusive videos there. I actually just posted one yesterday um, about a little bit of infrastructure and cleanup around the shop, and a couple of tips on like saving things for recycling from it. So that was cool. That was fun. I also have post behind the scenes pictures, things like that, and it helps the channel. Helps me pay for things. Helps me keep in keeps the lights on. Literally, I throw it towards utilities and internet and things like that, but it also helps me get supplies to make my streaming and video making a little bit easier. So thank you guys for that. If you want, you can go to my Ko-Fi, Famine Studio, or excuse me, ko-fi.com/Famine Studios X. You could buy me a couple of coffees for 2 or 12. I don't know. I'm not your boss. Super chats are there too. But yeah, check those things out if you haven't. They are. I'm getting proud of my. I'm getting proud of my Patreon. I'm starting to find how I want to approach things there, and it's nice that people have supported me for this first full year, and it's always appreciated, and I don't ever take it for granted. Trust me on that one. And I'm just gonna clean the brush on here. We'll never see this, but in case I shift something for a photo or whatever, well, at least there will be a little bit of gray on there. Get a little more. I also have debris. Yep. If Kenny was here, I don't know if she's watching. Sometimes she puts it on in the background. Um, but I will say debris. Like if one of us gets something in our eye, we'll be like, "What'd you get debris in your eye?" For my white highlight, I'm gonna use it's a white wash. Gonna be honest. They're like, oh, put it on there and then wipe it off to use it as a whitewash. That's not how I'm gonna use it, right? Because I could do that with regular paint and water. I really think that's what this is, just fucking paint and water. Because I mean, it seems like there's a lot of pigment there for wash. But I'll then take a tired. Hey, you have a great night. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. It's good to see you. All right. There we go. Just going to use that white, work it into the brush so it's on there. And then I'm just picking off the edge and a couple of high spots. There's not many high spots. I did try and like sand this neatly so that it just looked like stone, but it was like, some type of stone that's been managed at one point to have been taken care of. But just get that little bit of white on there to help it pop. Because if you look at rocks on mountains, you look at concrete, there's like any edges that are broken edges, like where it's cut at an angle or actually broken, you can see that there's like white from the chalkiness. It just helps sell that, like, oh, hey, that is stone. Also, that top thing is done. I'm gonna put a layer of Mod Podge on it to finish it, just for protection purposes, just to protect it. But as far as that goes, it's done. So now I want to get down here and start. Let's get a little bit of metallic on that bottom ring, just to add some character to it. Maybe we'll do a little bit of rusting effect. I'm not sure yet. I don't know how hard I want to go on that. You said hard on famine. Right, we said we're gonna do like a bronze. So let's get dangerous. It's wrought iron. That's copper. Well, let's do wrought iron. Oh, hey, thank you so much. And let me know. I'll shoot you something. Uh, PayPal or whatever for that. I appreciate it. What's the weather situation on Gimmick? Gimmick is very dry until it's not. Um, because Gimmick is in a deserted area, but there are the portals. Sometimes weather comes in through the portals, not necessarily items. So sometimes big storms move in and there's rain and acid rain. Um, when there's a lot of ship traffic and it creates clouds, it causes precipitation to fall down. That's why there's a lot of like moisture collectors in the area. Not moisture evaporators, those are copyrighted. But yeah, gets a little damper on Gimmick from time to time. So the rust and that whole bullshit of things don't rust in the desert, that's absolutely not true. Things rust in the desert, it just takes longer. But they do rust. And I'm just kind of like, I'm focusing the metal, the metallics on the top lip and the bottom lip, almost like it's a kick plate. You ever look underneath your cabinets, like just an inch or so back behind your cabinet, there's that wooden sill plate. Think of it kind of like that, where like if people, droids, things like that bump into that, it sticks out a little bit further than the building, so that's going to get scraped first, and it's usually down in the bottom or at the top. So that's my thought on it. But there are regions outside of Gimmick on the planet of consequence that I really have not explored or gone into world building on. You may have heard me. I'll ramble about it from time to time, but there are other climates on the planet of consequence, and Gimmick is just a part of the planet, but it is the only starport. So at least there's that. Piece on the door. I'll show you in a second. And no worries that you were late. I appreciate you being here. Give me one moment. Asymmetrical Piece could be a good band name, by the way. I thought their first album was really commercial, but then once they regrouped and started making music that was closer to their roots of space folk, I really appreciated them. Asymmetrical Piece. All right, which piece are we talking about here? This one here, or that one now? Ooh. Gil Gerard, what happened? Right side. So the video phone, right? This one here. It's a it's a video phone piece that I made. I will take some close-up photos and post them, but it is a little vid phone that is outside the door, and that's all garbage. That's a super glue cap for the camera. Well, I say garbage. Things that would have wound up in a dump. A broken piece of a HO train car is the keypad. The circle ring is another. Was from an Oragel tube. I just cut the ring off of the threaded thing, and then I filled that. I painted a little scene inside with green neons to make it look like a computer screen. Then filled it with UV resin. Same with the camera. Um, the connector part of the camera neck is a toy flashlight that I cut. The neck is a sprue. The box is, like I said, the camera box is a super glue container with UV resin layered in there. and then it's wrapped in cardstock from a cereal box. The buttons are mostly made from cereal boxes, and a couple of tiny like press on nail beads for the other buttons, and then it's just various stickers and pieces of paper that I cut from different advertisements and different stickers and stuff, and just slapped them on there in ways that were appeasing to me. They made my eye happy. I'm gonna mute you guys for a second and use the heat gun to finish curing this Mod Podge so I can get the stair done. So just one moment. Bye, Tone. I'll miss you. You're such a sweet lady. Big Vogon. Let's do. Hmm, black, brown, gray. So we've already got black on there. Anything else there? Just get a little water in there. There we go. All right. Dip that in there. Oh, I gotta tilt this so I can see it a little better. Sorry, gang. Guy tells us to come on here and watch him make art, and then he covers the art so we can't see it. I can hear you. And I'm just making sure that I'm a little heavy-handed with the actual brush strokes themselves versus the paint, so that I can push the black into the recesses, because I want that to be a nice deep shadow when I start dry brushing the other colors over top of it, to show like oil and grime. Now I know it's something that I'm picking up as I get older, that not every recess and cavern needs to be filled with black. It can have other dark colors in it. But what I found with my method of doing things, with the way that I like my things to look, when I put the black in first and then build up the other colors, when I start to do washes and stuff and it falls in there, the recesses, it looks like a more natural pooling of colors, instead of having like, oh, there's dark brown in there already, or there's yellow in there already. I don't know. That's just me. That's the way I like my stuff to look, and that's the way that makes me happy as I do it. So that's how I'm going to continue to do it. You can't stop me. You can't stop me, son of a bitch. But yeah, if I were working on a prop, it'd be a little different, because I could go in to recesses with like a brown or a burnt sienna or an ochre or a raw umber, and get that in there, and then wipe away so there's just traces of it left over. And that helps sell the reality of a larger scale physical piece. But this is a smaller scale imaginary place in outer space. So like, Did I recently? I'm having a brain, like, just drawing a blank here. I feel like I did recently. I just can't remember what it was, but I feel like I weathered a prop, like on a live stream, very recently. I can't for the friggin' life of me remember what it was. Doesn't matter. It's just something that's sticking in. Oh, it was the hat. That's right. The Wayland Yutani crew cap. I just got a wild inkling to do that, and it was a fun little 2 hour, not even 2 hour, like, process. And I guess I didn't do it as a stream, um, but I just did it and took some photos and had fun with it. And it's nice to know, like, even though I'm not doing cosplay pieces or anything like that, I can still make a I can still make a pretty convincing world worn prop if I need to. You know what I'm saying? So if the right person came along, we're like, "Hey, fam, and we're doing an independent picture, science fiction. We need some weathering work done, or we need set design. We need somebody that's just going to come and take the ball and carry it that extra 10 yards into the end zone for the touchdown." I might be persuaded to utilize my talents, but it's just good to know that I still have them. Like how I fantasy booked myself into working on some science fiction production that I'm not working on. And it's like, "Hey, famine, why don't you make your own sci-fi production?" And to which I say, "Why don't you mind your goddamn business? Hmm? Maybe I will one day. Maybe if I get the right people involved and the right funding, the right script, yeah." Or maybe I just work on my sci-fi bar and then let people rent the space to film in. Oh, I could do that. Get a little bit of black encrust in there. Looks more like a photocopy there instead of a sticker. That's dope. All right, I'm gonna mute you guys one more time here so I can blast this with the deluxe hair dryer, so I can then put some brown on here. Mute. All right. So like I said, I've got that. Like you guys can see. I don't even need to say like I said. Like you guys can see here. Got the black down. Next, I'm gonna do some dry brushing with a saddle brown by Vallejo, Vallejo, Vallejo paint. Fam, they're never gonna sponsor you if you keep intentionally saying their name wrong. You don't know that. You don't know that. Or dry brushing. Take a what? He's taking a pic, guys. He's taking selfies. Oh, and one fun thing that I did. I don't know how well it'll focus in. Oh, that gets you nice and close. You see the vertical digs into the stairs like this going up and down instead of horizontal scratches? Take a look at buildings with concrete steps in front of them, like in really busy environments, like inner city and things like that. In front of restaurants where there's like a concrete step up, people rolling hand carts, trucks, mail things like that, they dig in and scratch into those. So there's like little dings and nips and nicks and things like that missing from them. And it's just like a really oddball observation that I made one day, and then I started to pay attention to it. It's the mattress theory. You never know how many commercials there are for like mattresses and beds until you need one, and then all of a sudden you see all the mattress sale commercials all the time. Um, you know, it wasn't something that I normally would have noticed until I noticed it, and then everywhere I looked, I started to see it, and I was like, well, damn. Great work, Famine. Just dipping in today. Gotta head out though. Hey, you have a great day. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it, Timbo. See, Red, you scared him off talking about going to take nudes. And like even on old wooden stairs, take a look sometime. The digs are usually going vertically instead of horizontally. Because people are carrying things and may drop it or, scrape it with a couch or something. It's just a weird little observation, a little unnecessary bit of realism in an otherwise fantasy little world that I'm over here making. How's that looking on camera? That's starting to look like a goddamn street corner, if I do say so myself. But gray in there. Lighten that brown up a little bit. Make it a warmer tone. Or a cool, well, let's see. Let's see. Let's go back with the saddle brown, get a little more. Like I said, take a little bit of that gray. Just use that gray to add a little bit more life, I guess, to the brown, make it a little more brighter in certain spots. Just picking out and attacking certain areas with it, with that color, that lighter color, just adds depth. Okay. And then now, because I purposely want this stone to look similar to the like the muddiness that's on the street, the market area. I don't want it to look like the blue purple stone. So I want this to seem like it was either like made from the concrete was made from the local material, or maybe it was something found from one of the portal dumps or something like that, but like certainly not something that's local and harvested, because again, the people seem to like in Gimmick, they kind of respect the natural surrounding of the spaceport, and part of that is the part of that's them leaving like the stones alone that are there for whatever reason. Just taking some gray. And I'm just letting whatever brown is residing in this paintbrush that's left over, picking some of it up off the cloth. And hitting some high points, picking out textures. And I do want, see how it looks on camera. I do kind of want to convey like a wear path, like it's worn. I don't want to go too nuts. But just, something that shows where people traipse the most. Cool. I think there we go. Oh, he went too hard. He went too hard. Cool. I like that. I think that looks good. Yeah, I dig that. Let's do a little bit of this here real quick. So I put this damn sticker on. And I never weathered it or anything like that. Just kind of threw it on there. So take care of that. Same with that one. So I did weather that one, but get a little weather there. We can afford it. We're not paying by the paint pot or anything like that. Okay. So let's fix the one other thing that I need to fix is I did it by complete accident. Where are you, son of a gun? I made a mental note to remember where it went. Do you think I remembered where it went? Famine, do you remember most things? Not really, no. Well, there is a, this is funny. There is a piece that belongs on the end of that post there. Belongs right there. Not seeing it. Guess I could just put something on there. Yeah, I guess I could glue that on there. As soon as I do, I'll find the piece. So that's a good way to find it. So let me just super glue this on here. A little bit of super glue. Ah. Betty Spaghetti. I'll be honest, I don't know why I just said Betty Spaghetti. You couldn't pay me to tell you why I just did that. I'm not entirely sure. As soon as that glue dries, we'll just weather that handle up real quick. That's meant to be some type of sign hanging there, an advertisement hanging there, but I decided I didn't like it. I haven't quite figured out. Maybe I'll do like lettering, some Arabesh lettering across here or something, or I could leave it. Looks like it's welded. You know what I mean? Like I made it look like it had welds. Could have been there for something else a long time ago. Doesn't matter. It's one of those details that's like inconsequential, like truly, and it's something I could always revisit. So I'm not terribly upset. Trying to think here. Goes away. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Happy with that look. I'll do the top, just the top with the Mod Podge, real quick here, just to put that protective coating on there one more time. It does already have one coat of Mod Podge on it, on the top, on the whole thing, the perimeter and all that stuff. And then we put the black paint down and did the concrete effect. But I think I'm fine with just putting this podge upon the top. We're podging the top. Come, Jasper. Bring the car around. We're going to podge the top. You know, this won't stop it from me being an idiot and dropping something heavy on it like a 1, 2, 3 block, but it will prevent it from significant smaller scale damage. That's why I like Mod Podge as a the top podger. Ooh, that could be like man. I wish that that YouTube streaming service would allow me to like assign flair to somebody in a chat. Because I could be like, I'm gonna make so and so today the top podger. But yeah, I don't foresee any real. Is that a famine beard hair or mustache hair or is it cat hair? The world may never know. Hmm. Nope, that's a beard hair. I put a little bit of me in every work upon this station. It's not a station. Upon this starport. Thank you. You know, I think I'm just gonna do the rim now because now I'm like, well, what if I bump into it? What if I scrape against it? Did you ever think of that, Famine? No, you only think of yourself. Even though we are one of the same right now. Oh crap. It's all good, baby, baby. For all you Gen Z watchers out there who are new to the channel, that was a reference to one Biggie Smalls, the Notorious B.I.G. And if you don't know, now you know. Headed out. Your artistic press is fun to watch. Hey, you have a good night. Thank you for being here. Fat Red Food, Top Podger. Blue building. Yellow ochre. And knowing is half the battle. The other half is violence. Swift, swift and exacting violence. Still one of my all-time favorite. Like just before humorous T-shirts became like mainstream, and I don't mean that in the like the I was doing them before they were cool shirts with the beebs on them and stuff. This was like back in the day where a meme was a smiling friends, like the happy critter animal friends or whatever. It was like a bunny, and it was like the bunny's like, "Tee hee, I'll kill you," and like that was what a meme was. Um, and places like Spencer's and Hot Topics were the only place you could get those. Like you'd get your, oh, I went to Daytona Beach and all I got was this alligator bite and this silly T-shirt shirts. But one of the best ones I ever saw before they really kind of took off, and now most people have like funny T-shirts and things like that, especially guys my age. Was the GI Joe one, and it was a real, to my best knowledge, it was a real release by GI Joe, and it was the shirt that says "Knowing is half the battle, the other half is violence." And man, did that fucking shirt send me when I saw that the first time. Right. Cool. And this Mod Podge that I'm podging these stairs with is going to leave a slight glossiness, because even matte Mod Podge, now they make an ultra matte, which I feel like you should just market that as matte if that's the one that actually makes things look matte instead of your matte Mod Podge. See, you got me saying it now, Famine. God damn it. That makes things look semi-glossy. You should just call it semi-gloss, and then call the ultra matte Mod Podge your matte. But I digress. So, like I said, it's going to leave a slight glossy finish on here, but I'm going to dust it with chalk pastels. This is just an easy way to protect as I, when you guys aren't around and I'm playing with my figures, sometimes I like make them walk and things, and just another layer of protection against too aggressive playing with figures, and also me dropping shit on it. I'm clumsy. I have big hands that don't always work. Thanks, manufacturing job. Here you go, guys. Have some ergonomic tools. Work a 12-hour shift. Me, years later, reading about said ergonomic tools. Oh, they're ergonomic for 4 hours of use before they start to have wear and tear in your hands. Oh, good. So the other 8 hours, that was just free. That way. Let me blast this with the hair dryer one more time. Give me one moment. I'm gonna mute you guys. Who is Jeff spreading? What? What was I spreading? A guy named Jeff? Turning down was stupid. Oh god. Matt Mod Podge Jeff. No, I don't think Bjorn was spreading a guy named Jeff. It's his Jeff Mod Podge instead of his Matt Mod Podge. He might have been spreading Jeff. Just gonna take care of this right now. So I want this to be, the construction part is largely complete. Now it's just like adding more decor. Well, not decor, but like weathering and flyers and things like that. There we go. Look at us. Look at what we accomplished today, guys. This is a team effort. I'd like to thank today's sponsor, you guys, my patrons, my channel members. Look at that. That's dope. I like it. I should add some type of like knob or security bar or something across there, but I'm not too pressed about it. I know it's gonna have to hit some graffiti. Just I'm not saying I'm doing it right now, but I'm gonna do it right now. Hmm. Nope. That's the one. Do I have any idea where I'm landing on this? No. Am I doing it anyway? Yeah, buddy. Mhm. Just a dumb little bit of graffiti on there. Just to add a little bit of realism. Yeah. It's not the effect that I'm going for. Let go, you son of a bitch. Give me back my son. But yeah, I'm very happy. I am gonna call it. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, I want to thank my patrons, my channel members, everybody who tunes in to watch. I appreciate you guys. If you're new to the channel, you know the drill. I assume you've been on YouTube before. You like, you subscribe, you hit the share button. You make large cash donations to artists when you see them. I am artist. You just a handful of money. I hope you guys tune in next time. Likely will be a stream on Tuesday. Tuesday's like Christmas Eve Eve. So we'll see. Play it by ear. World Makers Consortium on Friday. Go check them out. I hope you guys have an excellent night. Be well. Too sweet me. Cheers.